Level 0. Crisp uniforms, dark aviator sunglasses, and a rolling suitcase. The admiring glances of passengers in the terminal. Aviation seems like the absolute pinnacle of prestige. You are the master of the sky, sipping coffee at 30,000 feet, while the autopilot does all the work. But lose altitude and take off the rose-colored glasses. Real modern aviation is years of crushing debt for training, chronic solar radiation, and gradual hearing loss from turbine roar, and broken families due to constantly being away from home. A modern pilot is a highly paid systems administrator of a multi-million-dollar flying computer who fights monotonous boredom for hours just to manually save 300 lives in that one critical second when the computer goes crazy. Fasten your seatbelts and return your seatbacks to their upright position. We begin our heavy takeoff from broke instructors to elite private jets for sheikhs and managing entire airlines. Level 1. Certified Flight Instructor, CFI. You are at the very bottom of the food chain. You took out a $100,000 loan for flight school, and now you must log 1,500 hours before airlines will even look at your resume. Your salary is about $20,000 a year. You survive on instant noodles. Sensorily, your life is getting tossed around in a tiny plastic airplane with no air conditioning in 100-degree heat. Your main battle is the fear of death at the hands of your own students. Every day you sit in the cockpit with terrified teenagers who could panic at any moment and throw the plane into a deadly stall. To society, you aren't even a pilot. You're just the guy who takes tourists on joyrides in a crop duster. If your student froze in shock during landing and grabbed the controls, would you punch them in the face to break the shock, risking losing your license for assault? Detail. Many pilots at this stage moonlight towing advertising banners. They fly circles for 8 hours straight at the speed of a bicycle, trying not to lose their minds from the monotony. Level 2. Crop duster bush pilot. To build hours faster, you went into extreme aviation. Your income can jump from pennies to decent seasonal money, but the price is your life. Sensorily, it's maximum adrenaline and the smell of chemicals. Bush pilots land planes on gravel riverbanks and snow glaciers, flying entirely by sight with no radar. If you are a crop duster, you spray pesticides over fields. You fly 6 feet off the ground, dodging power lines. It is one of the deadliest professions in the aviation world. The slightest mistake, and you become a fireball, knowing that your old airplane's engine is long past its service life. Fact: old crop duster planes are designed as a titanium capsule. Level 3. Regional First Officer. You accumulated your 1,500 hours and got hired. Your salary is around $40,000 to $50,000. Sensorily, it's survival in a pressed suit. You sleep in crash pads with 20 bunk beds. Your main battle is chronic fatigue. You do 4 or 5 short takeoffs and landings a day. The captain sitting on the left often treats you with arrogance. Harsh statistic: you don't get paid until the parking brake is released. Level 4. Regional Captain. Now you make all the decisions, but you are still flying the same small, cramped planes. If the landing gear fails to deploy during a blizzard approach, the entire weight of the decision lies solely on you. Level 5. Night Cargo Pilot Freight Dog. Your salary skyrockets over $200,000. Sensorily, it's the life of a vampire. Your cargo never complains about turbulence, but your battle is the destruction of your body's circadian rhythms. You are piloting giant Boeing 747s transporting transplant organs. Level 6. Major Airline Widebody Captain. Your salary breaks the ceiling at $400,000. You are the absolute monarch in the sky. But your problem is chronic, brain-destroying jet lag. Long-haul pilots receive doses of radiation comparable to nuclear workers. The captain and first officer never eat the same meal. Level 7. VVIP Corporate Jet Pilot. Tips of Rolex watches from billionaire clients. Sensorily, this is absolute luxury. But your battle is a golden cage. If the boss wants to fly into an approaching type. Fact: sinks are cut from a millimeter-thin veneer of marble. Level 8. Chief Pilot, VP of Flight Ops. Your salary with bonuses exceeds $500,000. You turned into a corporate predator. You manage an army of 5,000 pilots. If you learned a new aircraft model had a fatal flaw, would you press the red button and ground the fleet? Modern aviation is absolutely not about romance. It's about manic discipline and strict adherence to checklists. The most dangerous part of any flight is the taxi ride to the airport. The chance of dying on a flight is about 1 in 11 million. The wings of a modern airliner are incredibly flexible. Every multi-engine plane can safely land with only one engine. Turbulence is just bumps on an invisible air road. Just fasten your seatbelt. Trust your life to the professionals. behind the armored cockpit door.